It's 2 o'clock and we're live once again.
Hi.
Melinda's Enchanted Cottage, Witches Social. Today we're going to be discussing witchcraft, the glory, the prejudice, and the truce, all that sort of thing. So hopefully you can join us. Just give me a second here to catch up. I'm going to post Melinda's phone number on here if anybody wants to call in. 226 931 1419. There. Where is that? And then I can pin it to the top here. We're slowly figuring all this stuff out. So live, Melinda's Enchanted Cottage for our Witches Social. And we're not at the shop today. We're at home. Doing it from the comfort of our own home.
The girls are just giggling away in the basement playing
there's some
Minecraft.
Going on down there, and we're sitting on our comfy couch in our favorite space in our home, and welcoming you to us, to be a part of us today, which is social from our house.
We just took the day off.
Yeah, because we can do that. The joys of being self-employed. Yeah. It's not like we haven't been working, though.
We've been working around the clock. We've been pretty busy getting some new stuff ready for the shop, and so
Uncle Graham says hello. Good morning. Good afternoon. Feels like morning still. We're so lazy. I'm also going to throw up a link here. The first thing that popped into my mind today. Hopefully that shows up for you. Hopefully you can click on the link. Yep, looks like it's going to show up. There you are. Hi, Charmaine. First thing that popped into my mind this morning after a little bit of meditation, a little bit of thinking was the amazing Nina Simone, her sultry sounds, her song Feeling Good. It was just kind of buzzing around in my head, so I had to listen to that this morning, and I thought it was a really nice way to kind of recap the stuff that we talked about all week long in our little witches socials that we've had. Really, it's a new day. It's a new dawn, and I'm feeling good. And if you get a chance, listen to that. And she's just amazing. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
That's all I got to say. Well, that was something you didn't tell me you were sharing.
No,
so
I just threw
normally
it in there.
We're on the same page with everything, but he kept that one quiet.
Is there no sound from us, Elizabeth? I see somebody's posting, no sound. Is that for the video or is that for us? Let me just check our settings real quick right here. Should be working. Kim's on. Edna's on. Hi, guys. Blessed Sunday. And no response yet. I'm guessing nobody else is saying that they're not hearing anything.
You guys hear us okay?
Seems you're the only one, Elizabeth, so hopefully it's just a glitch that you can get sorted out.
We never know, because we bounce from place to place to place, changing up the scenery. So we just want to make sure everyone's on board.
And it could very well be us because, our system kind of comes with us, the microphone, the computer. We're hoping to get something a little more solid. Holly says hello.
Hi, Holly.
Hi, Holly.
Hi, William.
Hi, Mommy.
Hey, William, if the internet starts to go crapish, you get off, okay?
Holly says it sounds okay there, so I'm guessing there is some audio, and hopefully if you're not getting audio, you can figure it out on your end. Michelle says she can hear us just fine too. Hi, Michelle.
Good.
Yeah,
awesome.
So Witches Social, we've already got quite a few people jumping for a Sunday at that.
Love to see everyone. It is Sunday. We had quite a few yesterday too.
You know what amuses me is the number of people who say that they have it on in the background at work or it's in their earphones. It's like they're secretly listening to what we're doing while they're at work. And if you're free and able to do that, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, a friend of mine, she gets all of her calls out of the way, a couple people, and then she just puts us on in the background while she's diligently working from home.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty good. She's got my beautiful voice to listen to all day long, and Jeremy.
I'm no Nina Simone, but I do my very best. Kim says hello, everyone. She missed yesterday. That's okay. We keep them up so you guys can catch up. Because there is always a little lesson in all of this as well. It's not only just about the social for us. We really want to make sure that there's some meat and potatoes that you guys get to chew on.
William's out. He's
back
wanted his 5 minute of spotlight. Hi, Mummy. Bye, Mummy. And he's gone. So clearly the words that I have to say are not important to my children.
Well, you know what? He's going to hear it anyways because this is how we live, basically. Yeah. So he's like, I don't need to listen to this. I already know it, or likely I'm going to hear it later, so there's no point. Maybe if he listened, he wouldn't get the lecture later.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be.
I don't want it to sound like a lecture, I guess, but...
Words of wisdom from parents.
Yes. The ones who've been around the block a few times and maybe know a little bit about what they're talking about. Kim says she'll watch yesterday's tomorrow morning at work.
You're all good, Kim. You didn't miss much. It was like a one-on-one with me.
I thought it was great.
No, I'm not saying it wasn't great. I'm just saying Kim is very familiar with me and the shop and the MEC program and where I come from. So she really didn't miss much.
No, that's true. She's heard a lot of our stories before. So Dora White has a big question mark, and I'm not quite sure what that's in reference to. Dora, if you want to fill us in on that, we'd love to answer whatever it is that you have a question about.
So today we'll give her time to answer.
Sure.
But while we do that, today we are topic discussion.
Yep.
It's going to be about witchcraft.
Isn't it always?
No. Funny. No. Yeah. We're putting some defining out there and maybe some controversial aspects to it.
I guess looking to clarify a little bit. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, we want to clarify the term, the word, what it is. Dora says, I've never watched any of your broadcasts, just wondering what they're about. Educate me, please. Oh, okay. Well, welcome. I didn't recognize the name, but yeah, Melinda's Enchanted Cottage. We're a witchcraft, occult shop in Simcoe, but we're much more than that. We're all about exploring spirituality, witchcraft, magic, energy, all of those sorts of things. And throughout all of the discussions that we've been having, the Witches Social that we're doing live today, we've been doing for, what's it been, a week and a bit?
Yeah.
9 days now, I think we've been doing this.
But the Witches Social was something we did in-house.
Yes.
So we would all meet on Wednesday night, I believe it was, and we would all get together and just discuss various topics from all aspects, whether it be religion, witchcraft, spirituality, energy, meditation, you name it. We just pick anything. You guys are free to choose topics as well, suggest topics, and we get together for this hour. It's usually about an hour, and we just sit and chat it out.
It was a social thing more than anything else, but we always did have some things that we wanted to address or discuss, topics of conversation that inspired us, would get the ball rolling and just sort of interact with everybody, allow them to engage in conversations, etc. So basically that's what you're tapping into today, but this is the quarantine version.
Yes.
This is
the
everybody's locked in and can't necessarily come out and participate.
And we miss everyone, so this is a way of connecting with our peeps. And we do have a YouTube channel.
It's a little wild.
It's got like 2 videos on it because we're not very tech savvy. And we just started throwing these ones up here on Facebook because it was very easy. We are in the works of combining the YouTube, the Facebook, the Instagram, all of that. So whatever application you're using, you can jump on the videos.
In the future, we are planning on actually broadcasting our streams through multiple platforms such as YouTube, which then can be translated across to Facebook and Instagram and things like that. But honestly, we're pretty swamped as it is. It's a lot for us to keep track of, a lot for us to keep up on, and we are waiting on some equipment that we don't currently have, which does hold us back a little bit. So a little bit of it is a user issue, and the other part of it is technology and tools issues.
But we're getting there.
Yeah,
so
we're excited.
For now, we just use Facebook. So eventually, just type in Melinda's Enchanted Cottage for YouTube.
Yep.
And we have a couple videos up there we did, just like trial videos to see what it was like. And that was last lockdown.
And then as soon as the lockdown was lifted, we were so swamped.
busy with stuff. So we didn't have a chance to revisit it until this lockdown.
Yeah. So yes, we do have a YouTube channel. It's pretty sad, but we will be updating it and hopefully putting some of these videos on as well, or at least a recapping, because YouTube is kind of a different platform than Facebook Live. We've just been kind of using this as an opportunity to grab some of our friends, our peeps, to get together, to be able to weigh in. Call if you like on Melinda's cell phone there, 226 931-1419, if you have some stories that you'd like to share of experiences from things that we've discussed and talked about in the last little bit, things that you've applied, insights or wisdom that you've gleaned from it. Yeah, we love to hear from you there.
Certainly an open forum. We do promote the thoughts, the opinions, the questions, for sure. And if we don't get to them during the live video, we always get to them after the video. So don't hesitate to share your experiences.
Yeah. We do try and connect with everybody who says hi and can post something on our feed, our live feed, and then for the people who catch up afterwards when they put something out there as well, we'll catch up and say thanks, say hello, whatever needs to be said. So today's topic, as we mentioned, was really about the word witchcraft, the idea, the assumptions. It has the potential to be controversial.
Yes.
As much as we love controversial topics and ideas, we do want there to be modicum of respect here. We do want to make sure that we're keeping an open mind, that we're avoiding criticisms or prejudices, things like that. Feel free to maintain your belief while allowing other people to have their own assumptions, their own beliefs, etc.
Hey Sharon, hey April, nice seeing you.
So if you have some thoughts and opinions on the word or the assumptions or anything that we're talking about, feel free to weigh in. Maybe there's just a direction or an angle that we haven't considered ourselves as well. We even had our own little epiphany today about that small one. It doesn't massively change our beliefs in any way, shape, or form, but it was just a recognition that wow, we could actually look a little differently on this idea, because in our own way that could be something that we're holding people to that isn't necessarily their path or their choice to make.
So basically we have our idea of, are we talking about this now or later?
Well, I'm
the
not
epiphany
sure.
that we had this morning.
We can talk about it anytime.
No, I just want to clue them into it, that's all. Okay.
Let's talk about it now.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay, so this morning we were discussing what it means to be a witch in our eyes. And we do have a lot of faces that we see. We do have a lot of customers that come into the shop. And a lot of friends that do study this kind of thing. So in our eyes, we've always thought that in order to be a witch, to claim to be a witch, some practical hands-on guides, use is in order, and education, knowing your craft, being educated around your craft. So in the middle of discussing this, and I hold strong to that,
a working knowledge, basically.
A working knowledge of witchcraft.
Yes.
We kind of also came to the realization that maybe someone might not be as educated or knowledgeable because they take more of the essence or the strength of what the word means. So example, we talked about clothing yesterday and how people expect a witch to dress. I know we came up with that, the whole gothic look, the piercings, the tattoos, and I'm like a flip-flop jeans and sweater kind of girl.
Sure.
So I was like, you don't have to dress like that. But today we kind of recognize that maybe that is their glamour or their strength or power when they are out in the public. It feeds them. And then when they're home in the privacy of their own home, they can let that all go away, their protection from society, and just be in the moment. So I'm not saying we were judgmental in our conversation this morning, but we came to that small epiphany that we don't know really what goes on behind closed doors. So as much as I and Jeremy have the idea that education and knowing your craft is important to doing this, we also recognize that some people just come at it from a more spiritual aspect. They feel it rather than know it.
Yeah, we might look at something as being superfluous or non-essential. It doesn't identify truthfully as to who we are, but that doesn't make it any more or less real or important to the person who's projecting that energy.
Exactly. It doesn't make it less real.
Right.
So they might identify with a witch the word witch for different aspects than what we do.
Yep. Yeah, we see this a lot too with body art, tattoos, things like that. We can identify quickly with people when they come in and they are projecting through body art identifiers as to their sign, zodiac associations, anything like that. Anything witchy related that's tattooed on their body, we can usually recognize and identify with it quickly. But this doesn't necessarily make them true magical, powerful person. It just means that they have it projected on their body. So in one hand, we recognize it, but it doesn't truly define who they are. It's just a representation.
Sometimes I guess we
like
feel they play the role.
Sometimes.
Right? We've had this where people have completed what they classify as a year and a day. So if you guys don't understand that term, it's very much a coven aspect, a term where you've put your dues in for a year and a day and you now carry the title of that. And we do have solitary people who have put their dues in, put their time in, put the time in. But when I ask them simple questions on education about witchcraft, they have no clue what I'm talking about. So I do get a little offended in that sense, because I think you should know your craft if you're going to live and practice it. Well, shame on me, because not everyone lives it the same way I do. It is integrated into every aspect of my life every day, even with my children. So yes, I should know what I'm talking about. I own Melinda's Enchanted Cottage, so I should know what I am telling my customers. But for these other people, maybe just the fact that they put some time in belief and structure is their year and a day. Does that right?
Well, yeah, and the epiphany that we kind of had was, what if that's good enough for somebody? There's no reason why that can't be enough.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to us, because there's always that compelling aspect about there being more to it, growth, development, etc. But what if that's all they really need out of their life? Is just that sense of belonging or fulfillment or identity in some way.
A sense of identity, belonging.
Who are we to say that that's right or wrong?
What we need.
No. Hi,
if you want to catch up,
Sharon says, I guess I felt for a long time and I didn't have the words for it, but now I'm in the midst of learning and experiencing for the last 3 years. My personal approach to this right now is I am never more than just a beginner. The year and the day is irrelevant, because every day is another opportunity to start fresh and new.
Agreed.
Milestones, what are they? And honestly, it really doesn't matter. We reach plateaus of comfort, I suppose, plateaus of maybe the threshold where you're seemingly hitting that glass ceiling, and then one day all of a sudden you recognize that you've blown through that and you're in another stage of your life. But there's always going to be another one, and it's not, I mean, it can sound kind of pointless, I suppose, but no, for me it's really about enjoying the journey all along the way. So I really don't document my time. I don't look at it as I've accomplished a year and a day,
but
which is a very new
agey do. It's a very new age thing. So some people do. It's a very coven
work
thing.
Yep. I like it.
Our epiphany just was not to judge.
No, and in our own little way, I suppose that we did have our own idea of judgment, in that we expected everybody to feel like we do, compelled to learn, to grow, to evolve. I love my analogy that somebody pointed out. A witch was woman, of course, woman in total control of herself, an acronym, WITCH, woman in total control of herself. And in order to do that, in order to obtain that, there does need to be that evolutionary process of discovery, who I am, who I can be, etc. And that's really all we've been discussing through the purpose of energy. And we'll share at the end, or towards the end of this little chat today, the 4 pillars of witchcraft that we believe should be somewhat a guide for what's moving you and compelling you forward in the craft. That being said,
anyways,
let's explore the topic of witchcraft, which is going to be very, very hard to do.
Well, I'm curious.
Sure.
What does the word mean to you guys? And I know we won't get to them all, but please type it in. What does the word witch mean to each and every one of you that are on here today?
Yep. Yeah, the word witch, the word witchcraft as well, because they are 2 different words. They're related, obviously. The word witch, the root of witchcraft, is part of it, but they are individual words. So I did a little Googling on this, and
we had fun this morning.
Through our discussion, basically, on witchcraft. I mean, I have an opinion. I have a belief on what witchcraft is. Funny thing is, it evolved from a previous belief on what witchcraft is, and that's unique for me. And as you've been following along with Melinda and my story, her life was one that didn't have necessarily that stigma or the belief that witchcraft was wrong or erroneous or something to be ashamed of or embarrassed about or do in secret or private.
It was just unique.
It was quirky.
It was quirky.
Intriguing.
Yep.
It wasn't something that you broadcasted from the rooftops, but neither were you ashamed of.
It has a different opinion, like different thought form.
It does, partly because of my upbringing, but also partly because of the imagery that went around it through Hollywood, just the expectations of what a witch was. Good, bad, we did see both, but there does tend to be a very negative, derogative approach to the word witch, the terminology of witchcraft. So I thought, you know what, let's actually look up a few definitions and see where this is coming from. Is this unwarranted? Is it unbiased? Or is it actually how it's still perceived? So the first thing that I came across was a Wikipedia post on witchcraft. Typed in witchcraft, just left it at that. Wikipedia.
Yeah, we're just doing this because it's for any new person wanting to start this journey. That's exactly what they would do, is type it in and Google it.
And actually, we've been exploring this as well as buzzwords was a comment that we made the other day, and somebody wanted us to clarify that. And buzzwords are basically words that buzz around, and they aren't necessarily known or understood. And sometimes they're misused or the values are misconstrued, but they do tend to be trendy, popular, and individually they're all fantastic words. They do serve their purpose, but in a lot of cases,
have meaning.
Yeah, in a lot of cases, they just kind of float around in the nimbus of conversation and society without truthfully being recognized for what they mean. And witchcraft is one of those. Occult.
Yes.
Occult is another one.
Yeah.
There is a negative connotation to the word occult that just conjures up ideas of debauchery and bad things taking place. Goats,
blood, secret circles, demonic
Satan worship,
demonic worshiping. Not even close.
Not what it means.
Not even close.
No, and we would encourage you, if you can't actually tell me what the word occult means, look it up. Figure that out for yourself. Well, I'm not going to tell you that one, but I'm going to tell you about witchcraft, because this kind of blew my mind, because as much as I've evolved from one philosophy to another around the terminology of witchcraft, I really like what Wikipedia had to say, and I'm actually going to write it. I wrote it down so I could read it off. Wikipedia says, witchcraft is the practice of magical skills, spells, and abilities, which varies culturally and societally, and therefore can be difficult to define with precision. I thought, perfect, that's exactly it. And that's why we can't actually tell you what witchcraft is, because encompassed throughout all of the cultures and societies that form a belief or a presumption or an ideology around witchcraft, it's diverse. And you see this amongst us as witches versus maybe Bruja, the Hispanic cultures, Stragas, Italian witches. We all have it in a different idea, a different perspective of what it is, and it's not a right or a wrong, but we just come at it from our cultural expectations, our own experiences, etc.
Sorry, I just gotta get comfy.
Okay. I thought you were itching to read what everybody's saying about witchcraft.
No, it's my couch at home, so normally I'm like,
sprawled out or laying
down or something. This sitting thing is just weird on this couch.
She likes to take up a lot of
space. I take up a lot of space.
It's okay.
So, sorry, I didn't mean to throw you off.
No, it's okay. I liked what Wikipedia had to say.
Yeah, because if you're in the shop, if you're taking our workshops or belong to the MEC members, you will all agree with this, is that I'm the first one that says there is no right or wrong in the craft. It's your personal journey, your personal experience, so only you can determine whether it's right or wrong for you. Mm-hmm. So I love what Wikipedia says, because it's such a diverse topic. There's so many traditions and genres that you can scoop up and be a part of, that there is no right or wrong or no specific definition. And I mean, I can see by the comments here, like
spiritual, healer, wise woman, empowered or empowerment, intuitive, spirituality, and power. This is all a prevailing theme, and I think a very mature aspect on this as well.
And Pat, I did see you come on, Pat. Hi, I just wanted to say hello. She's like, I've been living a spiritual life for a very long time, but I felt like I was missing one piece to the puzzle. Something wasn't complete. So for me, witch means finally all things coming together. It is me. I actually love that.
That's nice. That's very profound.
That's very profound. And Pat, I am totally stealing that and using it in workshops. I will give you props for it, but I'm using it.
April says, witch, self-empowerment, to be one who is with and knowledgeable about the earth and to know oneself. Very good. Like the Oracle of Delphi, know thyself, and I believe that's the essence here. Sharon says, I think it's in part being in sync with the one you are and with nature, helping, learning, being spiritually a part of the whole of energy, meaning the world, other people, animals, earth, etc.
Yes.
Essentially everything that we've been discussing.
Yep.
An integral piece of the energy that is all around us.
Nice. Beautiful.
Holly loves the word witch. To her, it means it's a person who's gained wisdom and an ability to work with energy and frequencies through studying and practice. Witch equals power. Mm-hmm.
So it just shows to each of you, and there's a few more, sorry.
No, there's lots. That's awesome.
Each of you have your own definition of the word witch, and I think that's what we're getting at today is, it's just such a vast topic.
For Kim, it's a personal journey. For everybody, truly, it's a personal journey, but you're recognizing that it is your journey, and that's important. Learning, honoring knowledge, learning about yourself and everything around you. What else was up here? The information is daunting with all of the information.
Yes.
That's something we did discuss the other day as well, because it is a day of information. For sure. We talked about Melinda's journey at the very young stages of her development, her forging into the craft. There wasn't a whole lot of information out there.
Not like what you guys have today.
A lot more than there would have been 100 years ago. But by comparison, I mean, you watch how quickly things grow and leap and bounds. And it is very, very challenging to sort out and muddle through the information and make it applicable for yourself.
And I find today you're very much judged on who you've read and who you haven't read, right? Like if you get popular names jumping up for authors, and some people get quite like hoity-toity on the fact that you haven't read this person, then you're not a real witch. Well, there's hundreds of thousands of books out there.
Every year there's like 100 new witches out spouting something, and it's not that it's bad information, it's not that it's wrong, but yeah, we do tend to get overwhelmed and lost in the information that is out there.
When we head to a bookstore, and this is completely off topic, but this is a problem that we run into, is that I have read so much, I have discovered so much, and I have created my own personal path that when I walk into a bookstore, there's very few times where I will find a book that is fresh and new and different than what everyone else is writing. So don't be worried if you're not hitting all the key authors, really, because they're all writing the same things.
It's not unusual for us to go. It's not unusual for us to go to a section other than the esoteric occult section either, through self-help. And I think it's quite amusing how closely integrated self-help is with the practices that we share as witches. It is not outside of the scope. I thought there was a hilarious post a friend of mine posted a while back, biting my tongue so that I don't offend my uber-Christian friend, that as she's sharing her vision board with me, that I don't point out it's one crystal and a spell away from witchcraft. And I thought that was really funny. We talked about intention before, and the power of intention, the power of will, the power of our action through our minds being key to this. That is essentially where it's at. And I don't care if you don't understand it from my point of view, as long as you understand it from your point of view.
As long as you know your craft. That is the key to this conversation today.
People like Doreen Virtue that revoke all their thoughts on witchcraft.
I've never been an oracle card fan at all. Anyone who again has visited the shop knows these views.
Yes.
Some judgments may have come out there. So yeah, the whole Doreen Virtue thing she did oracle cards and then she renounced it all. So we made millions of dollars, We didn't renounce the cash, but we're renouncing the
we haven't really followed to see how she's followed through with that.
Yes, I don't care to follow it. It's like politics. No, thank you.
But and on a controversial level, that was something that we discussed today as well. It's a trending thing that we're catching on to right now. It's probably been around for a little while, but we're just cluing into it with the idea or the philosophy of Christian witches.
Yeah.
Is that possible? Is it a thing?
What do you guys think? Like, there's quite a few of you on here, and I know religious beliefs are different.
Yes.
So, in what you studied with witchcraft, how do you feel on someone being a Christian witch?
Yep.
What do you think? What do you feel?
Well, yeah, and this is kind of one of those controversial things because I've seen both sides of the coin. And my argument is, with the knowledge that I have of both faiths, the one will not allow the other one to be. And I'm not obviously throwing out the key phrase that does tend to, again, buzzwords from Christianity, where the verse from, I believe it was Numbers, I don't remember it off the top of my head, no, it would have been Numbers, where it's suffer not the witch to live. I've done a lot of research and study into that, and there's been quite some enlightenment that came about from that. However, I have a difficult time morphing the two belief structures from their organized positions into one that allows both to take place.
And you have studied both. And that's why I asked Jeremy, because he has studied both a Christian aspect and witchcraft. So myself, I've studied a witchcraft aspect. Now, I do have an example which we will get to once you're...
Okay.
I want to talk about Melissa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But we won't name her, so...
I already named her, so if she's on here, it's
okay,
fine.
no, actually, she won't, and it's a great illustration, actually. But, yeah, in our dialogue, and I guess organically, we can just kind of follow through to that conclusion as we talk. But organically, what the idea that we have about this is it really doesn't matter what your belief is in a divine, in a creator, in a something bigger than us, as long as you truly connect and understand with that. My failures in not connecting with the Christian God doesn't mean that I haven't connected with him. I've just come about it from a direction or a way that makes sense more to me, that allowed me to be able to find that spiritual connection. And it came through the feminine energy of the goddess. We've talked about that before. Now, I've since done quite a bit of research into this as well, and I've read on several articles of theologians, Christian theologians, who liken the idea of the Holy Spirit to that feminine balance of the triune God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit fulfills the feminine qualities of a goddess. They just don't claim it as that, but it does make sense to them, and they draw a comfort and awareness, a familiarity with that. And I think that's pretty cool. I have a reference from it. Was
we
Exodus.
Have a link.
Yeah, BibleGateway.com. I'm guessing the passage was in Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers.
Thank you.
I was 2 chapters off, but yes, definitely Old Testament. Thank you for that. And Uncle Graham, again, we're defining Christianity. What the definition of that is. I'm going to scroll back up through.
Yep. We're just going to take a couple minutes and go over comments, because it is a social, and we do feel that part is very important, that everyone gets their thoughts and opinions in here. So.
Elizabeth claims that she feels her thoughts are that God doesn't like witches, but I'm pretty sure Jesus was a pretty powerful witch. Again, we're looking at the belief of Christianity that Jesus was the divine Son of God, part of God, and that's a tricky one for people to wrap their minds around, obviously, because that's not something that we can physically recognize or do as humans. It's a very interesting take on that, and obviously you're welcome to explore your thoughts and feelings on that. Holly is feeding an addiction here by suggesting that Melinda needs to write a book. She's been on me about that.
I've been on him about this. It's all here. It just needs to go on paper. It
just needs to go on there. Aaron says, personally, I feel that Christian witch is an oxymoron, but in keeping with the witchy tenets, to each their own. If someone feels they can be a Christian and also witch, that is their choice. I had a interesting article where they brought up Elvis Presley. When being interviewed once, they commented on the fact that he was wearing both a cross and an ankh. And they asked him why. How would you wear both? And he says, I would hate to not be able to get into heaven based on a technicality. Now, I look at that as being slightly naive and maybe a little comical. I feel that for perhaps some of these people who claim to be Christian witches, it's kind of keeping their feet in both camps, or allowing themselves the freedom to be able to explore either without necessarily contradicting one or the other. It's maybe the safety net that they're getting by on a technicality, and that's okay. I'm okay with that.
We do have a friend of ours, a customer now friend, and Jeremy. Well, I and Jeremy, we are a goddess-based faith with the balance of a masculine energy as well. We do believe in both. You have to have both. For our aspects, other people, they choose what they want to choose. So because this customer, this friend, was searching for a new path, she wanted to jump on our path.
Sure.
But then she recognized it's not right for her. So instantly she felt like the goddess didn't want her. She wasn't connected to the goddess because she had a hard time giving up her one true God. So I believe she's Catholic, from a Catholic perspective, she had a problem giving that aspect up. So I really needed her to take a look. I could have said to her, yes, you cannot be a Christian or a Catholic and be a witch. But no, I actually told her to dig deeper into the goddess, because there is that triple factor. There's more aspects of the goddess than just a one true goddess. So pick something that resonates with you. And after doing a little bit of research and sourcing out all the aspects of the goddess, she has chosen to go with the nurturing mother aspect of the goddess, which suits her because she is a mother and she is nurturing. And she wears her heart on her sleeve and would help anyone. So I would never deny someone their religion. I would never tell them, no, you can't do that.
No.
Just because they are Christian.
And I think that the challenge here is that you have to find something that's truthfully relatable, something that you connect with, something that gives you that sense that this is real and tangible and true. And I felt that, and therefore it is real and it exists. And if that doesn't work in the aspect of a goddess, but it does in a god, there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that, as I've mentioned in previous discussions and dialogues, that the Christian God that I was searching for as a Christian, I failed to find through Christianity, but found through witchcraft. And that seems very weird to me in some ways when I say it out loud, but it absolutely makes sense to me now.
So a couple more comments. I feel that Christianity is based on witchcraft with their own spin. A lot of the symbols are the same. Yes, I firmly believe that... Whoops, it bounced. Sorry. Okay. I firmly believe that much of Christianity has been stolen from paganism. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of... I studied paganism for a while, and there's definitely similarities, same symbols, same holidays, that kind of stuff. That originated with pagans versus Catholics. So... yeah,
I think it's fascinating that the Catholic faith actually uses similar tools on their altars, etc.
Yes, and
the intention is all the same. It's basically the same thing. The only difference is that their hierarchical structure, their belief structure, is based on a divine God, singular, masculine energy, versus what to me makes sense as the polarity of a balanced God and goddess, with the connectedness to a goddess as that communicator of pure energy, life, love, etc. I just wasn't finding it the other ways around.
Even the Sabbath coming up, the holiday coming up for us in MEC, based, it's a pagan tradition, a Celtic tradition, and Catholics use it as Candlemas.
Yeah, they were having a hard time overriding that one from the pagan ways, and there was just nothing that would fit in, from my understanding, from my study of it.
So Candlemas it is.
Candlemas it is. If we can't beat them, join them. Let's bless their candles, and that way we can keep it moving.
We have the Goddess Brigid, who is who we would be celebrating this season.
Yeah.
and they have Saint Bridget.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, I could keep going.
Whatever your flavor
That's another
is,
video.
we're okay with, as long as we can at least approach it with open-minded conversation. And I guess this is the fearful aspect that we have really around the idea or the terminology of witchcraft, because let's bring it back to what we're discussing here today, is witchcraft still has a stigma around it. It still has a negative connotation, and we see this in lots of ways. So along my quick little research this morning about what the projected ideas are, the prevailing ideas around witchcraft, I loved Wikipedia, but then I was shocked, horrified slightly, to discover that the terminology within encyclopediabritannica.com was negative and derogatory still. I'm not going to go on in depth about it. Obviously, you guys can check that out if you're really curious. Merriam-Webster, again, went to the black side of things.
Went
about
to the
witchcraft,
dark side.
you know. And at least Collins English Dictionary at least had a non-biased approach for people manipulating energy for either good or evil. And I thought, well, okay, you know what? I'm going to give them that one because they at least recognize that the energy is the essence of what witchcraft is. It's the people and how they take it. And we get this all the time in the shop. We have nervous people walk in. So, are you a good witch or a bad witch?
Are you a white witch or a dark witch?
Yeah, and we hear this all the time, and it's quasi-amusing, sometimes frustrating for us. But the irony of this, what it really comes down to, and if you've been listening in through all our discussions and dialogues, energy is pure.
Yes.
There is no black, white. There is no positive, negative. There is no dark or light. There is no such thing as a white witch or a black witch.
We are in control of that energy. So really it stems down to what that individual does with their personal energy, which makes it dark or white.
Yep. So it's amusing because some of these same people that would come in and ask if we were a white witch and only used our skills and our intention and our energy for the good of all mankind. We're like, yeah, I can subscribe to that, and I would identify as somebody who does look for the greatest and best for all of mankind. I'm not here to serve only myself. But then inevitably, we'll just through discussion or dialogue, they might share a story of their friend that's this, that, and the other thing, and you need to know about this person, and they've done this, and I'm like, you're sharing gossip with me. Oh, okay. These are not necessarily nice things that you should be saying if you are upholding to an idea that white, positive energy, negative energy. Oh, you used a swear word in there. Is that bad energy now because that's a curse, right? It's the funny thing is we've missed the mark on that, and we've assigned a value, and we are liking the idea that we're working in white energy or pure energy or positive energy, but we have the tendency for both, and I think that we need to be careful.
And there is a need for both.
Sometimes.
You need a balance of energy, feminine, masculine, good, bad. We are not all wonderful, good people. We do make
So, okay. No, you're not wrong.
We do make bad choices sometimes.
Yeah.
So it is about the balance of energy. I hear a lot of people talk online about, people who run with the dark side and don't believe in karma and stuff. They are the karma.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
It is what it is. To each his own. You have to have a balance of both.
Yep. Yeah, I saw a post recently too about not crying that you're where you're at because of actions and choices that you made. That's a tricky one. That's a hard thing to do. And sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we choose the wrong thing. Sometimes we operate out of our best mindset and we suffer the consequences of that. Karma, whatever you want to call it. And when we kind of keep that perspective in our mind, it holds us to a path of accountability that is ours to determine and dictate, and nobody else's. So when we do have people come into our shop who are very openly left-hand path, or people who have no problem manipulating energy for their own personal gain, I'm not judgmental of that. I'm not afraid of them. But then I'm also wondering exactly how effectively that's working for them, because I do know that those tend to have repercussions. I remember reading about Crowley talking about sweating blood and tears and things in his magic working. And my philosophy, my belief there is it's because he's worked something that he has to undo, and the undoing can be a little bit harder. So Just a few thoughts there. Uncle Graham says, I consider myself a Christian, but as you know, my family would disagree, and the written word, in my opinion, has always been rewritten from many languages and people. Who is right? And apologize. The spelling was good, by the way. I think it's all good. Nothing wrong there. But no, you're right. Essentially, what we're all doing is we're following directions from books, from people, from humans who are experiencing this life. We are energetic beings going through a human experience, basically, and we're all trying to find that way that makes sense to us. So I guess in the context of that,
don't think witchcraft isn't the same way, though.
Sure.
As much as we talk about the Bible being rewritten and by man, witchcraft is the same way. Mm-hmm. We are all following books from people before us that have written this before our time.
Yep.
So I mean, it's in their perception. It's swayed in their idea. That's why we're always talking about making it your own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you take from what you come across, from what you read, the things that resonate in your soul and your energy as being right and proper and true. I don't have disagreements with the Bible, but I do wonder sometimes how much of it gets evolved or transformed and things like that. I believe stronger now than I did when I was an actual Christian, but that was just because of the path my life took. And again, I guess this is the area where we're dangerously close to controversy, because I know that other people will jump on with some pretty strong feelings. As long as we can dialogue and keep the thoughts and opinions non-threatening, we shouldn't have any problems with that.
So where are we at now? Judgments on witchcraft?
Yeah, we can get to that. I really wanted to put an idea out there first about what... Sorry.
No, it's
You're
okay.
ready to go.
It's fine. Go.
Okay, judgments of Christian. Now we'll skip that.
No. I just want people to put some out there. What are some of the things they've heard, they've witnessed, they've been situation to? Just a question. That's all I have.
So as witches,
Jeremy's talking,
what kind of prejudice have you come across? What kind of experiences, whether they're derogatory or judgmental or misconceptions from other people, have you experienced in your own personal lives because somebody found out you were a witch or you broadcast it? Now, in all fairness, if you were up on a soapbox hollering, saying your beliefs came from my original rights as a pagan, you might have deserved some of the things that were said about you.
No, I like to keep it interactive for you guys instead of just sitting here listening to us drone on and on and on. I want to hear your situations. What have you experienced with the judgmental ideals behind the word witchcraft? So as Jeremy moves on to what he was going to say, just pop on there and let us know.
There you go. Fill us in on some of your prejudices, some of the experiences that you've had. So since witchcraft is unidentifiable, this is kind of the point that I was getting to next. If witchcraft is something that we cannot define because of society, because of cultural expectations, different beliefs, etc., how do you personally identify as a witch? That's something else to consider in the conversation. So do you have a practice that you follow, defined path of some sort? Do you identify with a cultural belief or an expectation? Are you solitary or are you coven? And I think it's important to determine that as well. Solitary being someone who just kind of finds their own ways of doing things, their own practice. They don't necessarily follow the structure, or structure is the best word for it, of a coven. We get this a lot with people coming in and assuming we're Wiccan. Wiccan tends to follow a structure or an organized...
A religious structure.
A
hierarchy.
Of witches, basically. I guess the good example here is all Wiccans are witches, but not all witches are Wiccan. All thumbs are fingers, not all fingers are thumbs.
So we've even had people come at us, not us, but solitary practitioners, that we are not real witches. Solitary practitioners are not real witches because we don't conform to a coven group.
This is something that
we don't practice
combating
group high ritual magic.
Sure.
So this is something Jeremy and I are combating right now because we are solitary practitioners, and I have been a solitary practitioner since I was 16 years old.
Yep.
And I am well versed in this area. So for someone to tell me I'm not a real witch because I don't belong to a coven is very offensive.
Yeah, and actually nobody is more qualified to be Melinda than Melinda is. And essentially that's
Yes.
the key here. Who dares to assume that they have any authority to say whether somebody is or isn't who and what they believe? Essentially is what it comes down to. So if you identify as a witch, you don't have to qualify that in any way.
You just have to know why
you just have
for
to
yourself.
Understand and believe it. And
That's right.
That's the difference between a witch versus somebody who just pretends or plays, I would say. Okay. Do any of the above thoughts qualify you to hold or carry that title? As we were just exploring, Melinda is most qualified to be Melinda. If you identify as a witch or other alternative, Bruja, warlock, there's any other magical title or name that you associate with, whatever that is, what qualifies you to be that? Remembering that nobody else gets to determine that for you. That is the key here to this. What identifies this for you and what qualifies you to be a part of that? If you can't articulate that, if you can't say this is what I believe, this is why I believe it, and this is why it makes sense to me, you might want to give it a little more consideration. Not that there's anything wrong with playing at it, but it does tend to come across a little fluffy or soft, or not very sincere or heartfelt. I'm just going to catch up on a couple comments here because they're just flooding in. Oh goodness, I quite a ways back.
Wow,
here.
We missed a lot.
Oh, Johos hate me. Oh my God, they left a letter in my door saying I was going to hell. We'll talk a bit about that in a minute, actually.
We've had our experiences there.
It was fun. That was one of my most shameful moments as a Christian, just saying. Okay, Melissa in my life.
Melissa's on. I wasn't sure if you were on yet.
I've always heard that I'm Satan's daughter, and witchcraft was my way of talking and connecting to Satan. Very huge misconception amongst non-participants in the occult and the witchcraft.
Uneducated, I like to call them. Very uneducated people.
Yep. Not subscribers of Satan as it's understood.
Did we say Uncle Graham again? Just
Graham. No, I think actually because that popped in as how he identified.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure which way I took that, just Graham or is in how you identify. But if the latter is true, it's just Graham is how you identify.
Jeremy does the same thing.
And
he's
I use that
I'm
all the
just Jeremy.
time. You don't need to qualify me as something or one thing another. Just me is fine. I've only had one from my niece, Pat says. When I told her I was a witch, she asked me if I still believed in God. She said that she was worried for my soul. I said there's no need for her to worry. My beliefs are my own and my soul is safe.
I didn't know that was a thing until I met Jeremy. Mm-hmm. People are actually concerned for my soul.
Melissa asks if you can be both a solo and a coven witch. Exactly what we're actually working on our minds and our shop around right now.
Jeremy and I have been on a project over the last year, which is
only the last year.
Well,
it's been brewing for a while.
It's been brewing for a while.
Yep.
But we're well underway, and it's going to be released soon.
Mm-hmm. Aaron says, what I was going to say, very uneducated people who make ignorant comments like those. Graham says as well, the best way I can put it is what's in your heart and mind and how you interpret things. After listening to others and things you have read, come to your own conclusions that make you comfortable. It really does come down to a sense of truthfulness in yourself and your soul, I believe. So, well put. So yes, let's share some of the prejudices that we've dealt with in the shop, because I know everybody's got your experiences, and we'll share a couple of ours just for funs.
So we've had, I've had Jehovah's Witness actually when I worked at Sobeys, sit across from me from the lunchroom table and tell me they can't talk to me anymore because they just realized I was a witch.
Yep.
So I was shocked, actually. They said they shouldn't even be sitting anywhere near me.
You had no problem talking with them knowing they were
Jehovah's
Witness.
talking with them.
Yep.
No problem talking with them and knowing the backgrounds and,
okay, my
bad things they've done in their life.
My own my own shameful experience with Jehovah's Witness came from a moment when I was exhausted and tired. We'd had one of those days at the shop. It was a fantastic day. I remember that well, but I had nothing left to give energetically. And we were just closing up the shop. Do you remember this?
Yes. Two
really
young
funny.
boys, two young men on their journey. I guess they go on a walkabout.
Sure. Well, they were doing their door-to-door. They were handing out flyers, brochures. No, they were sharing their faith. I have no problem with that either. I'm going to leave it at that. However, I was exhausted and tired, and I was just closing the door, locking up. I saw them coming. I'm like, oh no, they're going to say hi, and I just want to go home and have some dinner and go to bed. And they're like, oh, hello. And I'm like, hi. He says, what is this store? And I'm like, it's a spiritualist occult shop where, Melinda's Enchanted Cottage. And I'm just like, what can I say to move this on so that I can go home? And they're like, oh, what? And I just leaned in close and I said, witchcraft. And the look on their face, they just ran. I said, I'm just closing up. You can come back tomorrow and talk. I felt really bad because I did specifically try to scare them away because I really didn't want to deal with it in the moment.
We've been invited to redemption services from the local churches.
Yep.
But with that being said, we have a couple customers from local churches that shop with us regularly, and they are amazing people. Like, if we can just agree to disagree, we are all amazing people. So I just Peggy has asked, and I just want to
tell me what those who fear for your soul need to understand. That's a tough one. I find in some cases the people who fear for your soul are really just projecting their own beliefs.
Yes.
And there's really not much you can say that's going to change their minds or their opinions.
As a witch, me per se, I don't believe in heaven. So people usually fear for my soul and where it's going after that. So I have a different aspect of where my soul and energy will go after that.
Elizabeth sniffing around as to what the ideas that we've been working on. We're not going to talk about
it. I'm not telling.
Pretty sure knowing them, it's not a coven, says Kim. And Aaron's chuckling away here. So
at our little stories, yes.
Yeah. So we do have that. It wasn't only the church community that have been in our shop, in our space, wanting to know more about us with a prejudice. I'm calling it very loosely, actually.
Yes.
It's not a condescending thing here, but they did definitely come in with one idea or a notion, and then throughout the purpose of knowing us or getting to know us and exploring who we are and what's going on, they were very surprised. It's not what they were expecting, and we see this all the time, not only with customers, but with people who intentionally come in with the idea that we're going to open up a dialogue for the purpose of changing, converting them, whatever. But we've also had this with law enforcement, with police as well, coming in based on some unwarranted claims that were made while you were going through a challenging time.
Yes.
We're not going to get into that.
No.
But he did have a reasonable concern that he needed to know and understand a little bit more of who we were and what we did in the shop.
I think he was afraid.
I was a little nervous, but at the
I
same
think he was a little
came
nervous.
Across very strong. He did, but
he stood back
very
much
much softened up as we discussed and talked with him. And then a couple of times we've also had some police officers come in, just curiosity getting the best of them, or wanting to know exactly what they might potentially need to know from us.
Was actually a great day when
it was pretty fun.
I had a female and male officer come in to the shop. It was when we first opened, and they were just checking out things, walking the block.
Yep.
And the female officer was very interested in what we do. She loved it. She loved astrology. She loved everything about it. The male officer kind of like did one of those, whatever, this is all hocus pocus kind of thing. So I kind of proved him wrong in the moment and went at him with his attributes and traits and who he was as a person and his relationship
You
stuff.
scared the pants off of him.
I did. I scared the pants off of him. It was awesome.
Yep. But it was a very interesting experience. Melinda likes to exert her power and show them, but she does it in a kind way that also leaves them feeling very much welcome and at home in our shop too. So we do see this. This is probably the number one struggle that we have in the shop.
Yes.
Really, is combating the the misinformed, the prejudice,
the uneducated.
The uneducated. That was a great term there, and really, it comes to that. I think one of my favorite stories of some prejudice that took place was when you were looking to open your shop. Of course, this is well before I was in the picture.
I had a lot, actually.
Sure.
I don't catalog them. I don't. They don't affect me.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? I just kind of go about my day and, okay, not today, maybe something else.
Yeah, she's probably the most, the word uncaring came to mind, but I meant it in a positive way. You don't get hung up on these sorts of things. But when Melinda was first looking to open the shop, she was exploring a few different venues, and she was talking with a potential landlord over the location, and they asked her if what the shop was. And when Melinda stated what the shop was going to be about, they're like, I don't think so. No, I don't think I could do that. And you never got a call back. You never got any. So they
rented to someone else. I moved on to the next location. It kind of fell in my lap a little bit. So
the irony of it is, 7 years later, we kind of come around full circle, and now this person is technically employed by us. We hire them to provide a specific service to us, and I kind of remember or recognize that recognition day where everything just kind of clicked into place for them, and they're like, yeah, you know who we are.
They're under employment of the witches.
Of the witches that they didn't want in their town.
Didn't want around.
Which provides a form of sustenance for them as well. So I think that's quite amusing. And of course, we're not those people to throw it into their faces or broadcast it, dramatically. Melinda's like, please let me just say more. But no, the truth of it is, it's not our agenda. It's not our soapbox to get up on. And funny thing, not what they expected from us in the long run. Aaron says, on a positive note, last year at Yule, went with a couple of other witches to distribute tins of cookies to first responders.
Wow, awesome.
The first firehouse we went to, we were asked who we were. When we said who we were, a Wiccan church group, I gotta click on the see more. The response was, oh, the witches! And that led to a very positive conversation.
Nice.
Turns out the firefighter who made the comment had dated a witch, learned a lot from her. That was a very good experience for me as I was just formally starting on my journey. That's amazing. Great story. So there you go. Somebody who was educated that helped their peers to recognize that it's not always as you think it's going to be. Which way? Whoops.
A lot of little banter about our secrecy.
She's wrong. It's a coven.
Sniff. Okay.
Yep.
You both are amazing. Keep on keeping on.
Yep,
Thank you. That's such positive feedback, positive vibes. We always want to make sure we're at least giving you guys something to take home or to motivate you on your path, your journey into whatever, witchcraft, spirituality, whatever. That's what we're here for.
Yep, that's awesome. So I love that positive note. All right, what else? I wanted to mention, too, that though part of the prevailing attitude about this is we've never considered ourselves victims because of this. Never. We always look at every opportunity to meet these people with an opportunity to educate them, to help them understand. It's not what you think it is. It's not who you think we are. You're welcome to not think any differently by the end of the conversation. But never do we actually get up and say, this is shameful and we need to fight for the rights of witches everywhere. No, that's not our place.
You actually do a reading for a guy. He comes in quite frequently, who is, I don't know what path he's on, because I'm not one he talks to. He goes directly to Jeremy. I think it's a woman thing, just saying.
I'm not sure.
You got the Quran for him.
Oh, yeah, wonderful.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a great example. You guys, they believe in two totally different things, actually. But they've bonded through tarot reading, just spirituality in general, and like a bro code man thing going on, because he literally skips past me and goes right to Jeremy. So he either really, really likes Jeremy.
No, he's married with kids.
Oh, right. That's right. He's married with kids.
Yep.
But so they've just formed this little... This bond, and they're both from two different worlds, two different worlds, different languages.
He's not the only one that I've built these connections with. He's just the only one that pays me for anything. That's okay though.
The crayon one.
Yeah. But mind you, I've gone out of my ways to help him as well, and that's been fantastic. I acquired a Quran for him.
Quran. I'm sorry.
Quran. Yep. No, it's fantastic, and actually, I've loved the dialogue, the discussion, the comparing similarities, and then the agreeing to disagree on things too. And with that freedom, has really brought us close together.
Yeah.
So, Aaron,
see you later, Aaron.
See you, Aaron.
Thanks for joining us.
We're just going to wrap up a few more points here, so you can always catch up a little bit later on. Okay. So we've never really looked at it from a victim perspective, and I think that's what helps to set us apart. 4 pillars of witchcraft, we did want to talk about that because we feel, if nothing else, if you want to identify as a witch, if you want to follow a path of witchcraft, there should be at least some kind of support. There needs to be some kind of structure in place that defines this. And I'm not going to tell you what that needs to be, but we're going to offer these 4 key points
so
to helping
balance.
balance.
And pencils out and notebooks.
For you MEC members, you've already got this written down.
Yes, MECs, you already got this. We've already been over this.
Hey, Daphne says, hi guys, how are you today? We are fantastic. If you're just logging in, you've missed out on a lot. You'll have to backpedal and catch up, but welcome. We're so glad to see you all the way from New Zealand. How's the weather over there? Because here it's bright and sunny, but there's snow on the ground, so... can I just tell you that I really love that art on your wall? You can.
Hey,
we agree.
There's a story that goes with that, but that's okay.
Another day, another
we'll get
story.
To that. Thank you, though.
But we like it too. Yep.
Okay, so 4 pillars of witchcraft, also known Witch's Pyramid. Kim says it's Sunday. I'm not taking notes.
When have you ever taken notes? Come on, Kim.
So yeah, you want to... It's just 4 basic rules, not rules, but philosophies to live by. To maybe strive to obtain.
As a witch, a visual witch, I love visualization. We relate these to the elements as well. Yes. Earth, air, fire, water. These are all parts of the keys, and you'll recognize this one for the MEC members. So the first pillar of power, basically, for a witch is the power to know. I always get the first one confused. And then it goes from there.
And I never, because I'm always saying this, I must have said it 10 times on this video alone. Know yourself, know thyself, know thy craft. So the first witch's pillar is to know.
The second witch's pillar, I'm just trying to like Daph's comment there. The second witch's pillar is to will, and that's all about... force of energy as well. So if you know something, you can will it, and it's really about taking your intention and putting that to work. However, that can't be done without the third pillar.
To dare. So you can will as much as you want, but unless you take action, which we talked about yesterday, that leap of faith, that action to dare, you never quite reach the goals or the manifestations in mind.
And then to bring this all full circle, the 4th pillar that I believe should be a priority in every witch's life, arguably probably the most difficult one, is the 4th one, and it is the power to be silent. And the power to know when to shut the heck up.
And we've talked about this. This is where the whole soapbox thing comes into play. This is your path, your journey. You do not need to stand on a soapbox for the rights of witches.
That doesn't mean you stand up for yourself. That doesn't mean you're weak, because the power to know who you are is there. The power to do, and the will, the power to dare is all part of it.
It just means you're doing it at the right moments.
The right time.
So really think hard about that one. Yeah. And it's also, the silence part comes as well for new people learning. Sometimes you have to let them figure things out for themselves, so you don't need to tell them everything or be a know-it-all or push them in a certain direction. You just have to be there to help, to guide, to maybe offer wisdom, but also to be silent.
So if any of you have figured out how to do this, please let me know. The balance of these 4 pinnacles, these 4 pyramids, these pillars rather, are essentially what makes our belief in who a witch is. And guess what? It's going to be a struggle. You're going to flounder in these areas from time to time. I certainly haven't got it all figured out, but this is what I strive for. This is what I believe identifies or gives me the right to identify as a witch, And if you feel differently or have a different theory or philosophy on it, we'd love to explore that with you. Yeah. Daff says it's sunny today with a little bit of wind blowing.
Nice.
Honestly, haven't been outside yet, so I'm only just seeing it based on what it is. But
we're very lazy today.
A little bit.
We were binge watching TV, actually. We took a break to come do this video.
Yeah. There you go. Well, that's our little topic for today. We've got some nice involvement, nice interaction there. Some speculation going on now as to what's coming ahead in the future for Melinda's Enchanted Cottage, but yeah, we'll keep you informed. You may or may not be right.
Thanks, guys. I think that's it. If you want to keep posting your situations or comments up there, by all means, go right ahead. We love you. Blessed be, and we'll see you here tomorrow, 2 p.m.
Yeah, we're going to do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll do it again tomorrow.
Our second day off. We're taking a 2-day weekend this week, so welcome. We will see you guys again tomorrow.
Blessings.